What is worldview? It's the lens through which we see the world. It's the cultural iceberg that is often hidden and unseen. And it's the water, it's the natural default setting that we have that's like water for fish or air for human beings. Have you ever felt frustrated by what someone from a different culture did? Or, hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Oh man, that just ruined the whole shot. Well, that's just what I'm talking about, you know? See, went straight right into my line. Sorry about that. Well, I don't think I can film anymore. This has just been so frustrating. Can't believe it. Can you believe that? Just drive properly. Come on. Well, it's things like these, you know, that just trigger us, that cause us to become so frustrated and angry. And what are we gonna do? So I guess let's explore this a little bit more, shall we? Why did they just do what they did? What's their motivation? Am I missing something? For this, we have to go deep. We need to go deep into the unseen and often inexpressible parts of culture. Yours, mine, theirs, to be able to uncover the things that drive us to do things a certain way, our values, our priorities. It has something to do with how we see the world and how we behave in the world. So this has something to do with worldview. So in this video, we'll delve into the question, what is worldview? And we'll look at 3 metaphors that can help us to understand it. In later videos, we'll explore different approaches on how we can start to understand worldview. These approaches can help you begin to understand other cultures and to be more self-aware of your own cultural background and worldview. So before we begin, let's roll the intro, and I need to run some errands. We'll see you later. Hi friends, welcome back to Global Semester. And as you can see, I needed to refresh, recalibrate, and just outright change. So the first thing that we can look at is that worldview is like a lens. Simply put, worldview is the lens through which we perceive and respond to reality. Whether we like it or not, we all have a worldview lens through which we understand reality that informs who we are and how to live in the world. We each got this worldview first from our upbringing, from those who raised us, taught us values, beliefs, and traditions that have been passed on from one generation to the next. Second, we got this worldview from the larger community in which we live, whether be it our towns, our cities, our countries. Now, the metaphor of the lens helps us to understand that we all see the world through different filters. You may have heard the phrase la vie en rose in French, or seeing through rose-tinted glasses in English. This is a phrase that means you see things through an optimistic lens. See, lens filters help us to see a certain way, helps us to feel a certain way, and helps us to filter in or filter out some things that we can see or not see. Since I've started learning about video editing and color grading and filters, I've learned that having a certain look can make you feel a certain way. You may not always be consciously picking up on it, but our subconscious does. So let's take this clip for example. Let's assign a cultural value about how we perceive human beings. If we see human beings as essentially good, we might see this person as a friendly person. But if we see humans as essentially corrupt, we might see this person in a more sinister light and think he's up to no good. The second metaphor for worldview is like an iceberg. It's one of those things that are 10% above the water and then 90% below water. We can say that part of culture we can see, like what people wear, what people eat, what people drink, what kind of holidays they celebrate. However, a huge part of what a culture is cannot be seen. And this is worldview. These are the assumptions, beliefs, and values that we hold, and these inform how a person from a culture makes decisions, solves problems, and do things with, say, finances and how to raise kids. These are the things that we must dive deeper and investigate and find out more. It takes time and patience. It takes lots of observations, wondering and questioning. It takes doing life together and deepening your friendship. Sometimes it's helpful to dive deep into your own culture to discover your own assumptions, beliefs, and values. To reflect on how you make decisions and solve problems. Self-awareness is key to empathy and compassion for others. When you begin to understand your cultural iceberg, you might be able to step into the cultural iceberg of another culture, of another person, of another group of people. The third metaphor for understanding what worldview is worldview as water. David Foster Wallace gave a brilliant commencement speech at Kenyon College in 2005. In his speech, he started with this story. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the heck is water?" If you haven't come across David Foster Wallace's This is Water, stop this video right now and go and read it. I've put the links in the description down below. The point of this story, as he says, is that the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about. For David Foster Wallace, he correctly identified that the Western worldview, or the natural hardwired default setting, as he called it, is to be deeply and literally self-centered, and to see and interpret everything through the lens of self. DFW further suggests that the key thing is that you get to decide how you're going to try to see things and consider what other people might be experiencing and how they might be seeing things as well. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to come automatically. Sometimes you might not even want to do it. But this choice is the freedom from our natural, hardwired default setting. And here's my favorite quote from his speech. David Foster Wallace says that this is the really important kind of freedom that involves attention and awareness and discipline, and being able truly to care about other people and to sacrifice for them over and over in myriad petty and unsexy ways every day. So let's land the plane here. What is worldview? It's the lens through which we see the world. It's the cultural iceberg that is often hidden and unseen, and that you need time and patience to dig deep and to uncover. And it's the water, it's the natural default setting that we have that's like water for fish or air for human beings. And the metaphor of water shows us that we have the freedom to choose, to pay attention, to be self-aware, and to be intentional to try to understand and put ourselves in another person's shoes, to try to understand what another person is going through and how they're seeing the world, so that we might truly care for them and about them. And that's worldview. So in the next video, I'll suggest 5 reasons why worldview is important in the context of becoming better cross-cultural representatives of King Jesus, both locally and globally. If you found this video helpful, you can like and subscribe if you want, but more importantly, send the link to your family and friends and start to dialogue. Start to talk about and discuss and wonder about your worldviews, your values, beliefs, and assumptions, and how you can try to understand another person's cultural worldview. If you have any questions or comments, write them in the comments section below. We're also planning a question and response video in the coming weeks. So until next time, stay safe, be kind, and do things that would bring honor to King Jesus. Shalom v'chesed ve'emet, my friends.